We decided to start streaming all our favorite movies and shows, and that sounded like a smart decision, but we've given the Netflix overlords too much power. Now, with a single tap, they can decide to cancel our favorite shows. In today's video, we'll be talking about how fans are working overtime to get Warrior Nun renewed, and about all the other shows that the streaming company might cancel in 2023. Let's get into it. Firstly, Warrior Nun fans are a force to be reckoned with. A lot of people who watched the show on Netflix want it to be brought back for a third season, after season 2 of the dark fantasy show came out on Netflix. Many of the show's fans took to Twitter to ask for a third season. Some fans are trying to manifest the third season into existence. Some of them don't agree though. They think that the ending of the season was perfect. They claim that not knowing if there would be a third season ruined the previous season for them. While the fans of the cool show might be divided, we can tell you guys for sure that the series just might need another season. The streaming service hasn't yet announced if another season is in the works or not. They're really milking this, aren't they? When the second season of the series came out on November 10th, it quickly moved up to the 5th spot on the global top 10 list of TV shows. A crazy 20 million hours were spent by people from around the world on the show. It soon moved up to the top 10 list and stayed there for a few weeks. Coming up, Netflix hasn't said a word about season 3. The writer and director of the show, Simon Barry, has told fans that the streaming service doesn't have much of a budget when it comes to advertising. Still, the series became the third most watched TV show in the world in its first week. The visionary was so sure of the amazing work that he had done that they already started working on the second season before getting the green light from Netflix. Now that's what we call dedication. They already had some ideas floating around for the first season's writing room that they thought would be good for a second season if they were lucky enough to get one. And they did. Hard work does pay off. People love the series because it has such a complex plot that is a little hard to understand but super interesting. Alba Baptista's continued confidence as Ava, a former quadriplegic who got ancient magical powers from a sacred halo implanted in her back and made to light up every so often, does the show a lot of favors. With the ending of the last season, fans still can't decide whether they want another season or not. What's more curious is the fact that Netflix hasn't announced anything and is staying weirdly silent. Curiouser and curiouser. Now let's look at 5 other Netflix shows that might be canceled this year. A lot of shows have already been canceled, and a lot more will get knocked out before the year is out. The streaming service has an ironclad system in place to decide if they're going to keep streaming series or not. Netflix and chill? More like Netflix and kill. Some shows that aired this year haven't yet been picked up for 2023. Since there is only 1 month left in 2022, the streaming service might take down more shows before the end of the year. Like we said, the Netflix overlords have too much power. All we can say is that we're sorry in advance. To start with, Fate, the Winx saga is getting canceled. The fantasy drama seems to be coming to an end. The streaming service has already announced that they won't be picking up the option for a third season. This came as something of a shock because the first 2 seasons did well and had a lot of fans. The series was inspired by the long-running Nickelodeon animated series called The Winx Club that filled our childhoods with magic. Everyone's favorite streaming platform hasn't given an official reason why it canceled the show, but we've been able to uncover a few reasons. It's probably safe to say that making the series wasn't cheap. The series was filmed on location in Ireland and had a lot of special effects because it was about magic. Even the wings of the fairies were digitally added, and that cost a lot of money. Another reason was that the fans of the original show didn't like it much. Since the Vampire Diaries writing staff worked on it, the show's tone was nothing like the original. The fairies were the only thing that seemed to have survived from the source material. But the love triangles, teen insecurity, and predictable plot twists in the series made fans pretty mad. Next up, we've got The Midnight Club.
I'm going to Stanford.
This was the first time Mike Flanagan had sat in the director's chair for a Netflix original series. While he's still hopeful for another season, viewers aren't so sure he'll get one. Seems like things are going to get nasty for this mystery horror show. Since it was released, only 18.79 million people watch it, which is surprising because usually we can't wait to go on a binge. Since his previous series like The Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor were such big successes, people were disappointed with this one. They had very high expectations because the director stated that it had been his pet project for years and that he planned to make it into many seasons. The series wasn't very well received as it seemed like it was missing something very important. It didn't have the signature Flanagan touch. While we love to watch whatever he puts in front of us, it might not be the end of the world if this one doesn't get renewed. We're sorry for the director, but this way, maybe we'll get more classical horror series like the ones we got before. What's more, Rebelde might be dropped too.
Ustedes habrán escuchado rumores Nuestro programa de excelencia.
It looks like Netflix has quietly taken Rebelde off their list of shows. It wasn't very hard to do so because no one cared much about it. Since the second season came out 4 months ago, neither Netflix nor the show's cast and crew have said anything about a third season. We didn't expect a renewal, or in this case, a cancellation, so soon after the start of the second season, given how well the first season did. If there was going to be a third season, we would have heard about it by now. That makes sense though, because the second one was a complete train wreck. In the first week that season 2 was on Netflix, only 15.31 million people watched it. The next week, the number of hours went down by 43%. By the third week, the show was no longer on any international top 10 lists. When you compare these numbers to the ones from the first season, they are shockingly low. We're sorry to tell you this, but it doesn't look like the teen show will have a third season, and it's possible that the streaming service won't send an official notice of cancellation by 2023. Instead, it will be added to Netflix's long list of shows that have been quietly canceled. Well, it's a fitting swan song for a series that didn't make any waves in the mainstream media. Following up, Neil Patrick Harris is getting uncoupled.
Hey, birthday boy. Gosh, the tension in your shoulders.
If you're a fan of this great showman, you're going to be disappointed with this news. His show might also stop airing. Much like Rebelde, it looks like the famous streaming service has already secretly canceled the show in a low-key way. That's weird, because nothing NPH does is ever low-key. How Netflix managed to do that, we'll never know, but we're sad to see him go. It's not a big surprise though. The first 3 days that the show was on the platform, it didn't even make the list of the top 10 shows around the world. It didn't make the cut in its first week, but with 26.52 million hours in its second week, it made its way to the top. But in the second week, the show's ratings went down and never came back up. In week 3, it would have needed almost 18.07 million hours of viewing time to beat Manifest's third season. Even though people like the show, it doesn't look like enough people watched to justify a second season. It just didn't last long enough, which is too bad, because NPH is an absolute icon. Finally, the Russian Doll might get canceled too.
Sweet birthday, baby!
No, life's short, carpe diem, etc., right?
Of all the shows on our list, this series is most likely to be taken off the air next year. Of course, this is if the streaming giant hasn't already covertly terminated it. Season 2 didn't make it into the top 10 worldwide when it came out. The first season was pretty well received, but somehow people didn't get on board with this part. This kind of thing has happened before, but it's rare for Netflix to take this long to decide the fate of any show, especially one that is not popular. We found out that a second part would be coming out within 4 months after the first one aired. Maybe the streaming service will surprise us all and give the series another go. But let's be honest, we don't see that happening. That's a wrap for this video. Which other Netflix series do you think should be canceled next year? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one.